not leaving anything on the field.
Who's ready to take this state back? Who's ready to save this country?
This is the greatest country in the world today, and it's time for us to stand up for America.
If we're all in, we win. All in? We win. All in? We win. All in? We win.
And are we ready tomorrow to take back this country?
Are you ready to take this state back?
Who's ready to send Mark Kelly back to space tomorrow?
Now, we're going to hear from reporters and candidates across the nation tonight, including our own Mark Meredith in Ohio, where Donald Trump is still delivering what was billed as a highly anticipated speech. But first, the great realignment. That's the focus of tonight's Angle. With Republicans about to take control of both the House and the Senate, most Democrats aren't interested in serious soul-searching about how it all unraveled. For a bunch so worried about election denial, they seem to be preemptively questioning the legitimacy of the impending Republican takeover.
How concerned are you that the upheaval at Twitter will result in a flood of misinformation, disinformation right before the election?
And it actually goes beyond Twitter. Today, there are reports that, in fact, Russian bots, news reports, have come back, outside interference coming back.
Of course, the regime media, as always, picks up the Democrat baton and runs with it. In the New York Times, it's Russian bots and trolls and interference. Oh, my. Well, think about this. The same group that has been droning on for years about how a vote for them is a vote to protect democracy, well, we now see what they really meant by that. Democracy only works when they win. Now, we should always assume that our adversaries are mucking around in our system. In fact, a Russian businessman, Yevgeny Prigozhin, today admitted to using social media to influence our elections. And it only stands to reason that China is meddling as well. But it's too sophisticated to get caught, let's face it. But what Biden and his band of reality deniers ignore is this. Neither Russia nor China nor any other foreign countries created the pain that American families are feeling right now from inflation. And they didn't cause the increase in violent crime in New York subways. And I'll tell you, Putin didn't design the sexually deviant curricula polluting schools across America. When more suburban women, Hispanics, African Americans vote Republican, it's not because of some Putin-inspired disinfo lurking on Facebook and circulating on Twitter. That paradigm shift will occur because Democrats misread their mandate and threw in with the far left to destroy our prosperity and our public safety. There are a few Democrats, though, who seem to be kind of sort of getting it.
I'm a loyal Democrat, but I am not happy. I just think that we did not listen to voters in this election, and I think we're going to have a bad night. And, this conversation is not going to have much impact on Tuesday, but I hope it has an impact going forward. Because when voters tell you over and over and over again that they care mostly about the economy, listen to them. Stop talking about democracy being at stake.
That's not the only deafness, the only quicksand that they're stepping into. As Americans are facing record high prices for heating oil this winter, Joe Biden went and he told the truth over the weekend.
No more drilling. There is no more drilling.
Okay, old man. Well, a few days earlier, he knocked off the entire coal industry as well.
No one's building new coal plants because they can't rely on it. We're going to be shutting these plants down all across America and having wind and solar.
And since we already know how they feel about fracking for natural gas, they're against it. Where does this exactly leave us as a nation? Now, even with the hot air perpetually blowing in D.C., it's not nearly enough to power America. So either Biden is a complete ignoramus on our existing energy framework, that could very well be, or he's setting the stage for another self-imposed shutdown of the entire country. Oil, natural gas, and coal are responsible for nearly 80% of American energy consumption. So without that, life as we know it in the United States will come to a screeching halt. Folks, this is their closing message. And the so-called master communicator, Barack Obama, he didn't do much better. Before he headed out on the trail for the Democrats, he must have had, a Spotify create some kind of playlist based on John Lennon's song Imagine.
Imagine if we had been able to fix our broken immigration system back in 2011. Imagine if we been able to pass meaningful gun safety legislation. Imagine if we'd been able to reduce our emissions. If we had kept the Senate in 2014, we'd have a very different Supreme Court making decisions about our most basic rights.
Imagine if Martha's Vineyard wanted to keep all those migrants, all 50 of them. Okay, imagine that. All right, imagine if you had a Democrat Party that wasn't so out of step with our middle class, out of step with Hispanics, and out of step with independent voters. Let's imagine that. Now, it's really been something to behold. The party that tanked our GDP in less than 2 years, the party that got us into a pointless proxy war with Russia, the party that got played by the Saudis on oil production, is now claiming to be the champions for the middle class?
The middle class gets stiffed. The poor get poorer under their policy. You saw what happened last time under my predecessor. The economy was in ruins. He lost manufacturing jobs and hundreds of small businesses here in this state and 100,000 nationwide.
The elocution notwithstanding, liar, liar, pants on fire. Now, under Trump, we had the strongest gains in real median income in over 2 decades. And before the pandemic destroyed everyone's economies, America had the highest GDP growth in the G7. Now we're 6th. And he fought his own party's establishment to get tough on China's trade abuses. But nice try, Joe. Now, let's face it. It's tough to be a Democrat this midterm. The lies, eventually, they catch up to you pretty quickly. And their party's elders, who are about to lose their chairmanships, are getting very cranky. So cranky that they're skipping the race card and going right to the Nazi card.
I've studied history all of my life.
Okay.
I taught history. And I'm telling you, what I see here are parallels to what the history was in this world back in the 1930s.
So, Congressman,
in Germany, in Italy.
It's hard to call someone a Nazi when you're about to go to a luau. It's very hard. Now, this is when you know that the Democrats are just going to get shellacked. When conservatives actually focus on the issues that voters care about, it's now fascist? That's their closing message? And I have this simple question. Did Democrats actually pay some consultant somewhere for this campaign advice? Now, we're going to see where things end up in this election. But one thing is for sure. The future of the Republican Party is the same as what I said it was on election night 2020 when I was at the White House. The same coalition we saw in Florida back in 2020, a rising populist coalition that takes the solid Republican base and adds more working people, more Hispanic voters, more suburban women, and more people on the coast who are tired of crime and economic chaos. That is getting a lot stronger. Now, for 12 years, ever since the rise of the Tea Party, this coalition has been gaining strength. First, we stopped Obama. Then we defeated Hillary. Then we helped Donald Trump reach the White House. We held together through COVID, through lies, through attacks on the big business community, from the regime media, and now we're competitive all across the country. I hope and I believe that tomorrow will be a great night for the Republicans and the Republic. But we're not finished yet. Americans are ready for peace and prosperity. They're ready for a Congress and a president that works hard and tells them the truth. And that's The Angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey.